Hello and welcome to another edition of National Focus. I'm Pearl Fontaine. Thank you for joining us. Topping the headlines, Dominica's Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit presented an over $400 million budget to Parliament on Wednesday. Government maintains efforts to contain the spread of the Black Sigatoka disease and will bring you details of the terms and conditions of the recently signed $18.4 million agreement. Stay with us for details of these stories and others after the break.
Scary. Everything just shaking and making big creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking, then Vanna started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down. Get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and SIDERA.
The facts as they are, brought to you every day. Only on GIS Channel 7.
Welcome back. President of Dominica, His Excellency Eliud Williams, says due consideration should be given by Dominica and other small island development states to adopt bold changes to hasten the pace of economic growth. The president made the remarks during his first address to Parliament during Wednesday's sitting. The head of state's remarks were based on the current economic crisis now facing countries across the globe.
Amidst our desire for higher levels of growth, we must pay due cognizance to the existing social, economic, and environmental conditions in a world still grappling with the worst economic crisis in several decades. This speaks to the need for organizational and personal change, a shift in emphasis after careful analysis of the likely impacts and ramifications on the Dominican society. These bold and practical measures require a new development partnership involving government, the private sector, business institutions, trade unions, local government, youth, women, and the rest of civil society. It will also require a process of change management. Change management entails thoughtful planning and sensitive implementation with well-developed systems for consultation and the involvement of all people who will be impacted by the changes so that the changes can be realistic, achievable, and measurable.
The island's head of state suggested the involvement of overseas-based nationals in the drive to foster economic growth.
A purposeful analysis of the vision statement must propel us to a new resolve to fully utilize all our human, natural, and financial resources and thereby define policies and programs that engage our overseas-based residents to make a more direct contribution and intervention. One such policy option would be to invite these Dominicans to invest in businesses and major development projects with which they could beneficially identify. This further diversification of the economy with the direct involvement and participation by overseas-based nationals and expatriates, as well as other key stakeholders, could also serve to help bridge the foreign direct investment gap referred to earlier and unleash the potential of many youth and women.
The country's head of state inspected a guard of honor, including 2 platoons of police officers and 1 platoon of fire officers, before addressing Parliament on Wednesday. Government's geothermal energy project will continue in the next financial year. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit told Parliament on Wednesday that government has already invested $67.7 million toward this venture.
These investments have allowed government to establish that the geothermal resource of the Roosevelt Valley is of excellent quality and available in sufficient quantity to generate in excess of 120 megawatts of electricity. Madam Speaker, there is reason to believe that we are beginning to reap the benefits of using this approach. At a meeting recently held in Paris, the Agence Française de Développement, AFD, offered to provide full financing for the construction of the small power plant of 50 megawatts, which will supply electricity to the local market. Upon construction of this plant, the current analysis suggests that consumers can expect to see a decrease of some 40% in the price paid for electricity in Dominica.
Efforts will be made soon to determine the extent of the lands required for the project. He assured landowners that their rights will be respected.
In the coming months, work will commence to determine the amount of land that will be necessary to successfully build and operate the geothermal plants that we plan to establish. In doing so, government guarantees that the property rights of landowners in the selected communities will be respected. Those occupying lands legitimately, but with no title to the property, will be assisted in obtaining title so as to facilitate transactions of bringing the resource to commercial reality. Government regards the people in possession of the lands in the resource areas as key stakeholders. As such, government will intensify the dissemination of information on all aspects of the development and will seek the participation and involvement in its planning as the project progresses.
The remarks by Honorable Prime Minister Skerrit, who is also Minister for Finance, was made during his presentation of the 2013-2014 budget to Parliament. The Dominica leader is seeking parliamentary approval for estimates of expenditure for the financial year ending June 30, 2014, amounting to over $400 million. The tax-free budget included targeted interventions for growth of the various sectors of the island's economy, including agriculture and tourism. GIS News will bring you more details of Wednesday's budget presentation in Thursday's newscast. Designs have been completed for the construction of a hotel on the lands occupied by the Public Works Garage. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit confirmed this during Wednesday's meeting of Parliament.
Madam Speaker, in keeping with the commitment made in the budget address last year to commission the design of a hotel on the site occupied by the Public Works Corporation, I am pleased to report that with the assistance of a Chinese firm, the design has been completed. Government is now in possession of designs for a 4 to 5 star hotel at this location. An offer of financing for the construction of the hotel has been made, which government is considering.
When government signed the agreement accepting $18.4 million in loans and grants from the CARICOM Development Fund on Tuesday, the terms and conditions of that arrangement were defined by the CDF. According to Chief Executive Officer of the CARICOM Development Fund, His Excellency Lorne McDonough, the funding is aimed directly at developing the export and small and medium business sectors. This, the ambassador explained, complements the objective of the CDF, which is to empower the smaller countries participating in regional integration.
These objectives are consistent with the mandates of the CDF to attract investment and new industries to disadvantaged countries and sectors, to ameliorate or arrest adverse economic and social impact arising from the operation of the CSME, to improve efficiency and competitiveness of industry, and achieve structural diversification and infrastructural development.
Ambassador McDonough further explained in detail the terms governing the $14.6 million loan, which will be executed by the Aid Bank.
The loan is provided at a nominal rate of 3% per annum for 10 years, with a grace period of 2 years for specified purposes. The application of the loan is expected to increase investment, employment, exports, and household incomes across the productive sectors of the Dominican economy through the activities of the medium, small, and micro-sized enterprises projected to benefit from it. In addition, there are two smaller loans of EC 2.6 million and EC 2.1 million to the National Center for Testing Excellence and the Dominica Export and Import Association, DEXIA, respectively, on similar terms as the loan to the AID Bank, save for the maturities.
The grant portion of the arrangement, totaling $3.8 million, is planned for the further upgrade of the Melville Hall Airport and to boost the operations of Dexia, which was recently renamed Export Dominica.
The grant facility of $1.3 million and EC 1.5 million will complement the loan by supporting the government of Dominica's export strategy through Dexia and the Melville Hall Airport. The Dexia support component will consist of a grant of $1.3 million and a loan of $2.1 million to finance the equipping and management of two multipurpose packing houses. Relatedly, the other CDF grant of $1.5 million will be applied to the procurement and installation of ancillary equipment for the Melville Hall, mainly lighting equipment and navigation equipment.
Dominica's Finance Minister and Ambassador McDonough signed the agreements in the presence of the CDF's legal counsel, Arden Warner, the Aid Bank's General Manager, Julius Corbett, several government officials, and the media. In more news, the government of Dominica and the People's Republic of China are seeking to strengthen cooperation and exchange information in adaptation and mitigation to climate change and sustainable development. The plan is to work together to advance the environment and development cause of both countries. That's the commitment coming out of the 2013 Eco Forum Global Annual Conference held in Guizhou Province last week. Dominica's Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit was among world leaders represented at the forum. The forum, which was held under the theme Building Eco-Civilization, Green Transformation and Transition, explored topics such as the green economy, environmental protection, and ecological rehabilitation. Eco Forum Global in China is an informal, international, high-level platform dedicated to the exchange and dissemination of the concept of ecological civilization. In a statement issued on Tuesday, Councillor Kiwei Wei of the local Chinese embassy said the forum promoted the sharing of knowledge and experiences in the implementation of policies regarding green economic transformation and ecological security.
I think it's very good platform which will contribute to the to build a more environment friendly and resource-conserving society. As you know, the sustainable development is a topic, a global topic, concerning the high long-term and the realistic interests of all countries. As the largest developing countries in the world, China attached great importance to the construction of the ecological civilization and integrated it into the overall modernization process.
The Dominica leader during his visit to China met with the Chinese Premier and Vice Premier and exchanged views on bilateral relations. The Chinese official confirmed that the Chinese leaders spoke highly of the achievements during the past 9 years since the establishment of diplomatic relations and future relations between both countries.
It reiterated that China and Dominica always treat each other with the mutual respect and equality. China is willing to work with Dominica to consolidate the foundation of the bilateral friendship and hope that we can explore the more new models in the strengthening the cooperation in the trade, investment, and green energy, agriculture, medical care, and transportation, and to push more results for the mutually beneficial cooperation between our two countries.
In other news, the Ministry of Agriculture, together with the Dominica National Fair Trade Organization, has put systems in place to manage the spread of the black Sikatoka disease on the island. Black Sikatoka, which is a leaf spot disease affecting banana and plantain plants, was first sighted in Dominica last year. Head of the Plant Protection Unit within the Division of Agriculture, Ryan Ansem, told GIS News an action plan has been put in place to manage the black Sikatoka disease.
It's an action plan that speaks to sanitation, nutrition, and quarantine, and also chemical control.
Ansem says the Division of Agriculture over the past months has been using spraying methods to get rid of affected plants.
We have successfully done 3 cycles of chemicals where we try to rotate the chemicals that we use. So we have sprayed approximately 2,300 acres of bananas and plantain all over the island.
The plant protection officer is appealing to farmers to work closely with the Division of Agriculture in ridding the country of the dreaded black Sikatoka disease. Ansem says there are practices which farmers must adhere to.
We're also asking the farmers to come on board, and those farmers that have not come on board to do the sanitation practice. We're asking the farmers to do the dilifin. Dilifin is one of the key strategy in managing the disease. If you remove the infested leaves, you will eliminate the amount of inoculum in your field. So we're asking the farmers to do that, and we're also asking the farmers to refrain from moving trashing material from one place to another. We still have farmers bringing what we call dry trash to cushion their bananas and plantain to the market, and that is a dangerous move. We are asking the farmers and the hucksters and everybody involved in doing that to refrain from doing that, because the disease itself can be spread by that. Another practice that we find the farmers doing, they are moving farm workers from one farm to another. We're asking them, the places that are infested with black Sikatoka, farm workers should disinfect the tools, wash their clothing before going to another field. So all these the farmers can do to help to prevent the spread of the disease. And the Ministry of Agriculture is working very hard in putting the programs in place to manage the disease.
The government of Dominica recently received an injection of $2.4 million from the EU Banana Accompanying Measures BAM to manage the black Sikatoka disease. Organizations such as CARICOM, the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI, and the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, through a regional project, have also been steadfast in assisting with the management of the disease. And that's the English segment of the news. We now join McPherson St. Luce for the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Premièrement, Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt fait présentation budget 2013-2014 en l'occasion du Parlement jardin avalé 400 avec 74 millions, 700 avec 35 000, 400 avec 18 $. Premièrement, il voit le président Dominique Excellency Elliot Williams fait présentation un message qui mettait attention à ce développement sustainable en parmi d'autres bagailles. Plusieurs aspects qui concernent la manière gouvernement qui a pays là pour l'année financière taper attention pendant la présentation budget salam. Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre en parmi d'autres ministres gouvernement attendait présentation budget là.
Well, ça c'est un jour comment bien content pour tout le monde Dominique pour le pays Dominique parce que le Premier ministre délivre un budget aujourd'hui. C'est un budget qui pas ni pièce taxe, il dit ça, pas ni pièce taxe. Nous sommes au gouvernement, nous ne pouvons pas mettre des taxes à les gens. Nous connaissons comment baïka marcher, comment baïka courir avec nous savons tout ça. Mais ça nous dit non, nous ne pouvons pas couper tous ces baïla nous aider les gens qui passent à fort tous ces baïla nous pas nous still ça, nous développement pays qui est continué avec il pas de taxes pour le monde. So c'est un gros budget. Non, on est pour ça à la tasse la vie bien wed you savez because a lot pay i wed mais Dominique nous pas mettre taxe à les monde nous ca still continue développement en pays avec nous ca still occuper aider tout monde qui passe nous occuper quoi yo monde qui vient privé parce que nous you besoin de help nous pas couper ces bail ça so c'est un gouvernement qui sensitive mais c'est un gouvernement mettre un budget jodi a délivrer premier ministre un bon budget pour nous.
La nouvelle, ministre Public Works a tapé allocation si le budget qui Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt Presentation there. Honorable Reuben Blackmore, c'est Minister Public Works.
Ça va bien important pour nous continuer à effort à Dominique pour bâtir chemin, pour mettre l'antiway avant énergie géothermale. Nous bien contents en donnant encore, nous allons bâtir un plan pour monde Dominique bénéficier. Pour you play moins en liability. So nous savons plus activité économique là. Là où business neuf pour employer mon Dominique. Puis il pas faire sens pour un petit pays comme Dominique pour monde qui tout l'argent ça assez liable. Et ben ça même qu'à mettre un problème à cette économie. Puis si on est en place pour cost pour énergie tout haut, ou que ouais business neuf qu'a établi en place ça. Et bien là on est jeune monde qui quitte l'école, on peut faire certain pour créer une économie où là il se taper bagaille plus au fouet. Aussi nous allons mettre en attoué pour continuer chemin pour airport road là avant McPherson State avec Saint Roma. On est en qualité cliff qui est bien dangereux. Aussi nous plus passer $6 millions pour faire certain nous tirer cliff ça. So mon qui va west Trafalgar, Waterwave, Mount Prosper, our community high school. Nous avons tiré bagay ça. Et pour bâtir un sidewalk on McPherson State pour community high school. So les enfants ça marcher là avec plus sécurité, mon qui marcher avec plus sécurité.
Président Dominique His Excellency Elliot Williams a fait parole qui autant considération supposée chaîne Hot Dominique et puis petit pays qui a développé pour faire changement développement économique. Président Williams délivré parole celle-là pendant il était adressé parlement jeudi. Parole président Williams mettez attention si l'on en crisis économique qui pays on a expériencer et puis à ces monde qui vivent l'autre pays pour faire une contribution pour le développement économique. Président Williams aussi a cru qu'il y a l'autre aspect pour les affaires de développement, c'est le rangement secteur privé et public. Nous avons plus de président Williams assis en l'autre état. Et puis finalement, l'occasion d'Exia Epicenter of Testing Excellence qui bénéficie si l'on a loan que le gouvernement Dominique recevoir CARICOM Development Fund. Parole celle-là sortie du ministre Telecoms, Honorable Ambrose George.
L'autre institution qui bénéficie de l'agence, c'est pour Dexia. Et l'agence qui est allée pour operationalize ces packing house là, pour aider nous à export produits Hot Dominica pour région. Avec l'agence qui est allée pour National Center pour Excellence, ça c'est Bureau Standard, pour assister pour gagner équipement pour certains qui fait travail en manœuvre pour certains qui standards nous Dominique pour produits qui quitté Dominique pour export à l'autre pays.
Thank you, McPherson. Up next, the tip of the day.
Scary. Everything just shaking and making big creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking. Then Vonnie started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down, get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and SEDERA.
Today's tip is all about healthy eating. Healthy eating is not about strict nutrition philosophies, staying unrealistically thin or depriving yourself of foods you love. Rather, it's about feeling great, having more energy, stabilizing your mood, and keeping yourself as healthy as possible. all of which can be achieved by eating a balanced breakfast every day and small meals throughout the day. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Please drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Pearl Fontaine. Thank you for watching.